That's good. So back to our screen here. Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, everybody. Just looking to offer our live stream here. This should be the one, I think. And yeah, that's it right there. Okay. Good afternoon. We're going to be joining in on NASA's live feed of the 2023 Annular Eclipse going on here. So I'm going to bring our sound back on here in a minute and just join in on the chat, and we'll get talking about what we're reviewing here. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the in-person event today, just not quite up to the weather. So I'll offer a view here as long as we can. It's already started out in California, or in the Western Coast, I guess, US. So we'll join the live feed here and we can get chatting a little bit about what's going on.
Texas, we're expecting that to begin at around 11:50 a.m. local. I'm going to continue to track the movement of this annular eclipse across the U.S.
I'm going to move us ahead
back to you, Tahira.
To our real time.
So hot air balloons are air filled, and the air is heated to create the buoyancy, the lift that gives them flight.
Afternoon, Carol.
At a couple thousand feet, they go up and down in a matter of hours. Scientific balloons, on the other hand, are quite different. So our largest balloons can fit a football field inside.
Got my tea and my medicine into me, I think so. I think we're going to be good to go for a little while anyway.
So the duration can be up to 5 or 6 weeks at a time, and the altitudes can.
Please let me know in the comments if there's any issues with volume here.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
as usual, please join in and let me know where you're joining from.
New Zealand and even McMurdo Station in Antarctica. Why do you want to know those different research?
In short, we go where the science needs us to go. Some scientists need Northern Hemisphere science for galaxies and star formations. That's why we go to Sweden. Same thing in the Southern Hemisphere. That's why we go to Antarctica. Most missions need some kind of trial or test system. So they'll fly from New Mexico to prove their science, or even just collect science at a shorter duration. And then for missions that are a little more risky, we'll go out to PLRF.
So can you describe to me what launch day is like?
It's an incredible feeling, right? So you see the balloon being released, you hear the rustle of the fabric and the rush of the wind as it stands up. You see the balloon be released from the vehicle and ascend, and it just gives you chills every time you watch it. So it's a really great feeling.
That sounds incredible. So how many of these balloon experiments have been sun focus or eclipse focus?
So about 8 to 10% of our portfolio is being with eclipse missions. One of the ones that stands out in my mind is when I got to see launch in 2019 to New Mexico. It's called the Bitsy mission, and it was looking at the corona, or the kind of the outer edge of the sun, and looking at how that behaves under different conditions.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again for having me.
Our balloon program has been around since 1961, so it's no surprise that our balloons are constantly innovating and discovering new science. So let's dive into some of the big science discoveries that have been made with scientific balloons.
High above Earth's surface floats a critical tool in NASA's exploration arsenal: scientific balloons. Massive, helium-filled, high-tech balloons lift heavy scientific experiments into near space to get a clearer view of our planet and the cosmos. Launched around the globe, these unique NASA missions provide a fast and cost-effective alternative to rockets to study Earth, our solar system, and beyond. Balloon science has led to many important discoveries. For example, astrophysicist John Mather studied heat from the early universe using balloons, which later contributed to his Nobel Prize-winning work confirming the Big Bang theory of an expanding universe. A special type of high-altitude balloon can carry telescopes above the clouds.
It does seem like they're getting a bit of a view earlier than we are locally.
One of these superpressure balloons, called SuperBit,
And that's basically because that shadow of the moon that's passing over the planet right now over North America hasn't quite reached us yet. So it's covering a large portion of the western coast right now. So our part of the eclipse doesn't really start until about 1:30 this afternoon. So they're already into it. You can see here from Albuquerque, New Mexico, they've already got some of the eclipse has already started, probably about 10 or a little bit better % right now. So we'll be bouncing back and forth. If you have any questions along the way, or you want to chat along the way, I'm watching comments here both on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll carry through here until at least Annularity, which is another 45 minutes away for Albuquerque. And I know that the members of the St. John Club and the Rask New Brunswick Club are set up this afternoon at the Evergreen Nature Park. So if you're interested in joining them, you're most welcome. They'll be there from 1:30 until 3:30 this afternoon. Of course, this is all just a lead for us into the much bigger event coming up on April the 8th of 2024, when we'll have a total solar eclipse right over the province of New Brunswick, which should be a pretty fascinating event.
Absolutely. We are very good neighbors. We are here 365 days of the year. We started in 2005, and we start with the early ballooning and then
This is one channel. We may bounce over to timeanddate.com as well. They've got another nice live feed going with views from several different locations. But we'll stay tuned in here for a little bit and see how it goes.
the fiesta in the museum this week. New Mexico is such an enchanting place to be. And the smell of roasting green chili in the air, there's nothing like it. There's a reason why Georgia O'Keeffe chose this place as her home. It's because of the open sky and the beautiful landscape, and we get to enjoy so much of that here. And when you think about it, there's like a spotlight shining on Albuquerque, and I think it's probably the best place in the whole wide world to be right now. Today, balloon fiesta and an annular eclipse. I can't imagine anything better.
And how do you feel about an annular eclipse forming at the same time as the event this year?
So it's fantastic. I'm so happy to be here with you all, and Mother Nature has provided us the perfect sky today. Looking this direction, I don't see a single cloud. There's a bite out of the sun already, like it's bitten out of an apple. And I'm so excited to see the annularity.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm really excited to enjoy the annular eclipse together. So next, we are honored to hear from NASA Administrator Bill Nelson.
Hey, everybody. We are so excited that you're joining us today for this solar eclipse. It's when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun. It's a big day for NASA scientists because eclipses present unique opportunities to study the sun. And what we learn from these eclipses, along with our heliophysics research, has incredible benefits for our human exploration. The sun is a powerful, hot, glowing ball of hydrogen and helium. And it
Jeff Dalton says, hello from Canning, Nova Scotia. I'm setting up my telescope to view the eclipse with the proper filter. Just need the breaks in the cloud. Wishing you good luck there, Jeff. Hopefully you'll get some clear sky soon.
what we do on Earth, growing crops, our economics. It even affects our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. We see its influences reflected throughout our culture as well, in art, music, religion, sports. When you look up today with your eclipse glasses,
Blah, blah, blah. Let's get on to the show.
sun impacts us. NASA will never stop studying our closest star for the benefit of all of us, terrestrial beings here on planet Earth.
Thank you, Administrator Nelson. So, Michael, we've been getting a lot of questions on social media. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, I have a question here from Priyash Patel on YouTube, and they ask, do red sky eclipses occur in a similar pattern geographically?
Oh, absolutely. Geographically, we get the same sort of shape of an eclipse that will move slightly northward in this progression. So this is called the Saros cycle. And every 18 years or so, there's a repeated pattern of an eclipse. And
Just check the YouTube feed. There are 205,000 people watching the NASA live feed with us right now. So
exactly the same time.
I didn't know that. It's really surprising. Okay, and before
and we can see some sunspots there as well with the big view.
the telescope view now, seeing a partial eclipse and a lot of light out of the sun.
Oh, yeah, it's getting a bit bigger. We're not quite to 50% yet, but yeah, it is getting there. It's pretty exciting.
That's so exciting. Okay, so the second question I have is Sandy Connor on YouTube, and they ask, how does the Ring of Fire eclipse affect the light from the sun reaching Earth?
Ooh, that's a fantastic question because this has something to do with the
You can
sun
see some pretty good sunspots lying right in these areas here.
As the sun
Today.
gets blocked by the moon progressively, there are parts of the sun, active regions specifically, that will be blocked, and the light from the active regions won't be able to hit the Earth's atmosphere. So we can actually study the effects. We can actually study these effects. We'll hear a little bit more about this later in the program.
Amazing. Okay, so third question is, one of our viewers on YouTube asked, how do eclipse glasses work?
Ooh, that's a great
Yeah,
question.
so
So-
these things.
Yeah, we have eclipse
Mhm.
glasses. Okay, so you see the lenses right here. This is a Mylar film, and the coating on it blocks over 99% of the white light that comes there. Not only that.
It can affect the temperature, Janice, for sure. Like if you're standing in the area where the infrared light is pulsating at you pretty hard, in their area, in New Mexico, it will certainly affect the air temperature. You'll feel very much cooler once the moon blocks out the majority of the sun. And not just that, also in areas where there may be a total solar eclipse, it's very common for the animals that would be out in the fields, roaming around kind of thing, to go lie down because they think nighttime's coming on. Birds in the trees will quiet down. It's all that kind of an eerie kind of a feeling, and the look is very eerie looking when you're out underneath a solar eclipse. We're going to get our chance next year on April the 8th. Now, will the air temperature feel much different for us on April the 8th? Probably not a whole lot, but more so for those folks, of course, down in New Mexico and in areas where they are right now.
When the annular is taking place, that's when the moon is going to be in front of the sun. Now, for the annular eclipse, it's not going to completely block the sun, so we'll have that ring of fire that we get to see in the sky. And if you take a look at that live feed from the telescope that we're seeing right now in Kerrville, we already have a bite taken out of the sun from our perspective as well.
It's going to be a fantastic event for New Brunswick, probably one of the biggest events ever experienced here in New Brunswick, as far as celestial events go, for sure. We've also got one the following year in March, and that's going to be about an 84% eclipsed sun as it rises at sunrise, which will be a really great experience to witness.
Nature will respond. So check out, how
Less than 6 months away from our turn. Yeah.
they go back to their trees, the crickets will come out, starting to chirp. It'll feel kind of dramatic when this happens too. Can't wait to feel that wind today. And folks, I mean, it's not just us here on Earth plugged into today's action. Emily Farfaro with NASA Communications had a chance to chat with two astronauts aboard the International Space Station to learn more about the sun from their unique perspective off our planet.
Jasmine, Satoshi, this is so exciting to be talking with you. This is the coolest thing that I've ever done. As you know, all eyes are going to be on the sun on October 14th as we experience an annular solar eclipse. And so I'm wondering, have either of you ever seen a solar eclipse of any kind? Emily, actually,
I'm going to quickly share, hopefully it'll share, a view of Soho Live, which is the live view of the sun from a spacecraft that's looking at the sun directly. And I'll bring it over here and see if it works. Maybe it will.
Outside in those moments, looking at the solar eclipse. So that's something.
Yeah, there it is. And as you can see, there are a number of sunspots that are visible today. So watch this eclipse as it gets as it cuts out a larger portion of the sun, and you'll get to see these larger sunspots that are facing us right now as well.
Space weather and impact.
Gotta get back. It's back to where we were.
Space station. Well, I mean, from the International Space Station, we have a really unique vantage point, looking back at the Earth. But also, there are several experiments actually mounted right outside here on the Japanese experiment facility outside of the GEM module.
Regarding the space weather specifically from solar flare activities point of view, a specialist on the ground kindly observe it continuously, and when there is a big solar flare, they notify of us and move to a relatively safe place on the International Space Station.
Wow, I am so glad that you're well protected up there on the International Space Station. I want to touch back on the annular solar eclipse. This celestial event kickstarted.
Hi, Paul. Good to have you on board with us.
This year, which is a global celebration of sun science, and a year where we're inviting the public to do as many sun-related activities as possible. And so I'm wondering, what is your favorite thing about the sun?
We're not quite completely clouded out here, but I'm just going to take another quick look out the window. Well, I guess we are. Typical maritime astronomical event. But at least through the wonders of technology, we have this option, and we can all enjoy it together, which is kind of nice as well.
And I like the brightness, it's the warmth of the sun, and I'm looking forward to the next solar eclipse.
That reminds me of something that my friends in physics say, which is that the sun touches everything. With that, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today about the sun, and I hope that you both have a great view of the eclipse wherever you might.
I'm going to drag another screen over, just cut their volume down again for another minute, and we got another hour or so before things are moving in. So I just want to share this one screen as well. This is from the website timeanddate.com. If I get over here this way, there it is. So this is the next number of events that we'll be able to experience here in St. John. So today's event, of course, the partial solar eclipse, and then we have a penumbral eclipse, because lunar and solar eclipses come 2 weeks apart. Whenever there's a lunar eclipse, there's a solar eclipse either 2 weeks before that or 2 weeks after that. And that's because the sun and the moon, or I'm sorry, the moon is on either side of the earth every 14 days. So when the moon actually rises a little bit above our plane of the planets, or a little bit below as it circles us. And it's only when the moon moves from above to below, or below to above, and it crosses these two lines that we call the nodes, when it is parallel with us and the sun, that we can either have a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. Today's eclipse happens to be an annular eclipse because the moon is too far away in its orbit to completely cover the disk of the sun. There's a really neat coincidence in that the moon is 400 times closer to us than the sun, but it's also 400 times smaller than the sun. So the moon and the sun look the same size in the sky. On a normal day, they would appear at the same size. Of course, when we get these super moons that we talk a lot about, that's when the moon is at perigee, when it's closest to us. Excuse me. And that's when you can have a total solar eclipse, because the moon will be close enough to be able to cover the complete disk of the sun. On the case of today, this is an annular eclipse, and the word annular comes from the Latin word annulus, which means ring. So the moon is too far away in its orbit, or what we call apogee, at almost its farthest point away from Earth, that it doesn't quite cover the complete disk of the sun. So that's why we have the annular eclipse today. So again, with the schedule, we can see that there's a partial solar eclipse coming up today, and then the penumbral lunar eclipse we experience in 2 weeks from now. That's not a total eclipse, because the moon is just passing through part of our shadow that we cast out into space. Again, on March 25th of 2024, and then 2 weeks later on April the 8th of 2024, we have our partial solar eclipse from St. John. It's roughly about 98%, I think. I'm going to click on it here and just check. Maximum view in St. John is it's going to be 2 hours and 18 minutes, about 98% obstructed by the moon. So not 100%, but parts of the province will have 100%. Then we move down into September, where we have a partial lunar eclipse. And then we move into March of next year, where we have a total lunar eclipse, and then another partial solar eclipse. And this one's going to take place at sunrise. Let's take a look at this one quickly for a second. And here's the view from St. John. So the good thing about timeanddate.com is they offer you these views. So here's sunrise, and you'll see that the sun is already rising, already eclipsed by the moon, and then it's going to last about another hour or so. So that would be an opportunity for fantastic photo opportunities there for that one. So we'll go back to the one that we're looking at. That's going to be the most important for us, really, is this partial. They're calling it partial because it's not total from St. John. We'll click on it, and there's our maximum view in St. John. So very close to being 100%, but not 100. And if you really want to see 100, you're going to have to go to about Fredericton, up to about the Miramichi, which will provide you with a total solar eclipse view. And simple fact is that for me, particularly, I will drive the extra 100 kilometers or whatever it takes to get to within the area of totality, because there's nothing like totality to experience. Here's the map coming up for the 2024 eclipse. So you can see that this path stretches straight across New Brunswick here, about just below Fredericton. I guess Macadam or Mukta will be inside that loop, and then right up to about the Miramichi. Actually, Miramichi's inside it. Kujabaquak Park, I believe, is also inside it. Tracadie, Shiloh, Shippagan. So there's that stretch, and you can click on any part of this map, and it'll tell you how long totality is going to last. So duration of the whole event is 2 hours and 17 minutes, and then that particular spot is 3 minutes and 11 seconds for totality, which is a long time to be able to look at totality. That's a pretty good experience. And all these places around the province will have a lot of them will have lots of special events happening. And again, if we get clouded out, there is an opportunity to bring it live to you in something like this. But you can see here, it stretches right through Montreal, Sherbrooke, right down through large portions of the US, like large populated portions of the US, and arrives in through Mexico. So that's that one. And about 60 million people will get an opportunity to see this one, which is probably one of the most visible eclipses for totality anyway, ever witnessed. So let's take us back to the show now. And I gotta bring this one back over. Here we go. No, that's the wrong one. I'll get it here. 1 second. I'm just gonna close this, I think. Here we are. So be prepared for lots of talk. You're going to hear a whole lot about this coming solar eclipse on April the 8th of 2024. News is going to be a lot more about that. There, Paul Crowder's just time and dates offering great views as well. So I'm going to try to bring up that page too, because I did follow time and date quite a bit as well. I don't know about rebroadcasting their page and whether I'm able to do that or not. I'm allowed to do that, I guess. Just for us, we're just viewing something that somebody else is showing. So let me get the volume up a little more.
Here, but for the sake of the eclipse, most of the particles will still kind of be able to be deflected around the Earth's magnetic field. There will be some that are able to interact with the moon, but it wouldn't have a huge impact on what we experience at Earth. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gina. And thank you to everybody sending in these questions online. We will get to some more of what you want to know by later on in the show. So keep sending those questions in using the hashtag AskNASA. Now let's check in with Joy and Michael to see what's new in Albuquerque. Joy, how's it going?
Thanks, Karen and Gina. So we're just under 30 minutes away from Annularity in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Michael, shall we put on our glasses to see what the sun and moon are doing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're seeing a deep partial solar eclipse. More than half of the sun is blocked out, and so you just see a crescent of sunlight peeking out.
Wow, that is amazing. Annularity is just going to be stunning. I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait either. This is terribly exciting. You can see a balloon inflating behind us. We have annularity coming. It is all coming together today.
I just can't believe that an annular eclipse is happening at the same time as the fiesta.
It really feels special, doesn't it?
And actually,
I do have the eclipse up from timeanddate.com too. So if people want me to flip over to that, just let me know here, and I can switch over to that page for a few minutes.
Decades. So let's take a look at our ride. So for complete newbies, how does a hot air balloon work?
The great question. It's physics, simply. We heat up the air inside the balloon, and that makes it less dense, and then that means it moves. Now, what that means though is we can only control up and down. The way we fly and the way we navigate is by choosing different layers of air.
And I think that there is.
Now, if you can bear with me for a minute, we'll finish this little bit of talk here that they're talking about hot air balloons, and then we will switch over to time and date for a few minutes to get a look at what someone else is offering.
At a higher elevation, the wind is going to the north,
and that the surface is going to the south. That's what we call the Albuquerque box. Sometimes the box works out such that you can fly to the south and go up, fly to the north, and then come down and fly back south and land right where you took off, which is an extraordinary, wonderful accomplishment. It's super fun when you do that.
So for someone who's never been in a balloon,
Tanya, no, it's not the fact that it's not a good day. Well, it really isn't a good day for sure. There are a lot, some people that are at the park. It's just a little under the weather today, so couldn't really
Out there, yeah.
be around a whole lot of people
The
and
science, right?
spread
It's buoyancy, right?
maybe a cold to someone else. I didn't want to
But it feels like that.
have somebody else get infected by the cold that I might have. So I thought it might be best just to try it from home today. Be feeling better, I'm sure. A little, got my cup of tea and I've got my medicine into me, so hopefully we'll feel better soon.
At the same time, it's really exciting, it's intense. It's this.
But luckily, through the age of technology, we can offer it here as well. So this is kind of nice. I'm going to pause the NASA view. We're going to flip over to the view from timeanddate.com because they do have a pretty awesome view right now as well. So hang on.
Wow, that brings back great memories.
So let me pause this. I'm going to try to share a different screen. I'm going to stop my share here for a moment. Let me bring this first of all to a different window. Bear with me just for a second. Just got to get things lined up. I think I can go here. Maybe we have the new feed coming up. Just one second. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so there's our feed from timeanddate.com right now. So I'm going to turn their sound on. We can listen to them for a bit.
Behind the scenes, there's all kinds of fun stuff to look at there. So we will be back soon.
And they offer just some music in between. I think they take like a 5-minute break or so. Anyway, we could talk a little bit more about this if you like. Now, also, there's a really good view from timeanddate.com. Of course, we're witnessing what's called an annular eclipse, and an annular eclipse happens when the moon is just too far away in its orbit to be able to cover the complete disk of the sun. Which is where it is now. We're at the moon is at almost apogee, so almost its farthest away point. Let me see how far away it is right now. We'll bring that number up actually. Let us know. So right now, the moon is sitting at a distance of about 397,000 kilometers. And it can travel, it's up about 405,000 kilometers at its farthest point this month. So it's fairly close to its farthest point right now. So we're near apogee. And that's when we have the ability that the moon will completely cover the disk of the sun. So we'll have this ring around the outside that we call the annulus. That's why it's called an annular eclipse. And we can see right now too with the time of day where the eclipse is actually happening. This is the path that is going to be happening through, and traveling at 5,000 miles per hour right now. It's pretty quick. This is the live view from San Diego, California. Looks like up in the top right corner of Bluff, Utah, and then Eli, Nevada. So we're getting some very varying views of what we're going to experience here in a few minutes with annularity. Even passes through Roswell, New Mexico. That's pretty neat. There is one coming up. I think it's in October of this year. I think it passes over Easter Island, a total solar eclipse. I'm quite sure. Speaking of Easter Island, the notes here. Oops, them. Yeah, there's an annular solar eclipse on October the 2nd of 2024, passing over Easter Island. Now, Easter Island, of course, is where all those large statues are located. So that would be quite an event, I think. I think you can only get there from Argentina, off the coast of Argentina, to get out to it. I think it's the only island that that the eclipse actually passes over for October 2024. Thanks, Tanya. No, it's a pleasure to offer it if I can. I always try to offer and share live streams. I know there are a lot of people that are clouded out today, for instance, for one thing, but there's also a lot of people that are not able to get out and view events in person. So that's probably the primary reason that I share events, knowing that there are those who can't get out at all to view them. So we'll hang on here for a little while longer with time and date. We'll get them back, let them talk a little bit, and then we might switch back to NASA again. Still got some time here, of course, before we get to annularity. Again, this is a tease into our big event next year, the total solar eclipse coming up on April the 8th of 2024, when we'll have a nice eclipse passing right over the province of New Brunswick. Now, I believe it's, if you stand in one spot in the world, a total solar eclipse will pass over your head about every 375 years. So it's a pretty rare event for you to experience if you're staying in one location. I'll probably miss the next one if it's 375 years. Why are they in hot air balloons in New Mexico? I think it's just that they would provide a better view. They can get above any obstructions, I guess, in New Mexico. I mean, here would make sense for sure. There's actually one that's going to be launched. I think it's out of Florenceville. I'll have to look it up. There's someone who is actually planning on launching a balloon during the eclipse of next year, and that would get them above the cloud tops, so they could witness it. It's a high altitude balloon. I mean, that's what they'd be using there. But I don't know why they're doing the balloon. Maybe it's just the fact that they're enjoying the show. I guess it would be a little bit different if you experienced it from a hot air balloon. Like we have our shows here in Sussex, maybe they just planned it for the same event. See another sunspot sitting there right at the edge of the moon as disk moving in. These sunspots, of course, are the large areas on the sun that are darker than the rest of the sun because they're a little bit cooler than the rest of the sun. Two of these sunspots will cause loops to form around them called prominences. When those loops come together, I'll say they short circuit, they break, and that's what causes these large clouds of gas to leave the sun's surface, charged particles and plasma. And when it does, it exits out from the sun's photosphere, heads out into space, and if we're in the path of it, then we'll have it interact with our atmosphere and with some nice aurora. There are some fairly big sunspots facing us right at the moment, and they have what they call a beta gamma field building around them, which harbors the X-class solar flares, which are the highest rated solar flares. So if we happen to get a solar flare in the next couple of days or so, we may experience something in the next few days of a coronal mass ejection and a possibility of aurora early next week, which would be great because that's at the time when the moon is not bright in the sky. We're at new moon right now. Of course, that's when the moon can block out the sun, only at new moon. Which means also the moon won't be up in our evening sky for a little bit. It'll be up early, but sets early, and that would make our sky nice and dark for any opportunity for aurora. So I'll take a look ahead while we're here waiting, and we'll see what the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, are saying about aurora coming up in the next few days. I go to NOAA space weather page. I look at their 3-day forecast. And at the moment, there's no real activity for the next few days. That's expected anyway. Just a KP level of 3 and almost 4, but not enough really to spark any aurora in our part of the world. But again, with technology, there are lots of live streams too that are being offered from other locations. There are a few in Finland, Norway. There are companies up there that advertise just that, so you can take a flight to one of these places and view aurora. And I've just noticed a new live stream coming up from someone. I can post it later on, of a gentleman that stands in front of the camera. I remember him being there a couple of years ago, I think it was, and he would have the aurora behind him. His house actually sits right in front of the mountain, which had aurora right over the top of it the other night. It was just fantastic. So he's advertising, of course, for a business, but still the opportunities are there for that to view as well. So, you know, aurora, if it doesn't happen in our particular area, there are places online that you can look up and find it as well. Paul says, got to wait till 29th of March 2025, next partial solar eclipse here. That'll be an awesome one though, Paul, for sure. Really looking forward to that one. I mean, that eclipsed sun rising at sunrise will be a pretty fantastic opportunity for photos. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out planning that ahead of time. Great view here from San Diego. Again, the shadow is widening as it stretches across North America. We're at 119, so we're just about at a point of contact here in New Brunswick. St. John, I'm just going to take a quick peek at my window here. Actually pretty cloudy. I don't know if there's going to be much opportunity here. You might get the odd, what we used to call sucker hole, where it would make you feel that the sky was going to break up, but it really wasn't. But we'll listen in here again for a little bit.
I'd like to say heating up, but they're kind of cooling down as the moon covers up the sun, but then we're getting frantically excited here. And I think they're super frantic up in Oregon with Planet Falls because we've been looking behind the scenes at some images and they're struggling with it, they're having some technical issues, but they should be able to be watching and probably wearing their eclipse glasses, looking at the annular eclipse and the annularity just as we're speaking here, because yes, they do, as far as we can see, they've got some clear skies to see it there. Haven't they, Brian?
That's right, yes. So angularity is underway in North America. We can see from our moving eclipse map, which is on the screen just above Anna. So on that map, we have that sort of pinky strip running across the map. That is the part of angularity.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
See the ring of fire today, and we have that red dot that is slowly moving its way along that pink strip. Say slowly moving its way along. It is moving at a colossal speed. So that red dot, it touched down in the Pacific Ocean. It's raced across to the west coast. It's now making its way from Oregon into Nevada. And just above it, we have our telescope feed coming in from our friends at the Exploratorium, who are based in Ely, Nevada. They're getting very close to angularity there. After that, the eclipse is moving on down into Utah, and then it will be arriving here in New Mexico. Will be the next to see.
We're going to be sitting here talking to you guys through it as well, but we'll see how that goes.
So yes, the annular eclipse is happening.
Happening. And there are some things to look for at angularity. People are going to be out there this. And what are we looking for?
Well, one of the big highlights at the beginning and end of angularity is Bailey's beads. Now, people might be familiar with Bailey's beads from total solar eclipses. This is where little beads of sunlight can be seen streaming through valleys on the edge of the moon's surface. The difference between a total eclipse and an annular eclipse is that in a total eclipse, these beads can be seen on the leading edge of the moon at the start of totality as it crosses the final bit of the sun. In an annular eclipse, the beads can be seen on the trailing edge of the moon. It's the trailing edge that is the last bit to cross the edge of the sun and form this ring around the moon. So yes, that is one of the highlights to look out for at the beginning of annularity.
Cool. And we're excited about annularity coming up. And we will be showing them here on the screen. So we're going to go off and leave you guys with our moving map. It'll replace Graham and I here at the bottom. And please make sure to look at Time Date Live as well. There's all kinds of stuff happening in the Time Date Live stream under there. So we'll see you soon.
Okay, we take a look and see what's happening with the NASA live feed now as well. So bear with me here for a sec. I'll see where we are for that stream. You see that they are very close. Maybe I just stay with this one now. Eli, Nevada, we can see that they're very close to annularity there now. Should only be a few moments away. There's annularity in Eli, Nevada. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Now, I know it's just a little bit of change of weather, probably more than anything. I work around a lot of people at work, so I mean, sometimes you just pick up something. I do a lot of outreach, I guess, too. So, change of season, probably more than anything. I'll settle it. But thank you for your comment. On tomorrow night's program, if you're going to join us tomorrow in the evening, we'd like you to. We're going to be bringing back another one of our guests on the program. It'll be Tim Doucette this week. Tim is a legally blind astronomer that is set up in under the beautiful dark skies of Quinn in Nova Scotia, just around the Yarmouth area. And Tim will be joining us and talking a bit about maybe how he got started in the hobby and how his experiences have been since then. Not a lot of business talk, but just more of a personal nature. And Tim was a member of the RASC New Brunswick chapter for quite a while, and we get to know each other quite well, and always enjoy his talks and his conversations. So we're going to bring Tim on the show tomorrow evening, along with our other topics or other segments as well, including what's up, what's coming up, the best thing that's coming up in the night sky this week. This is probably the best thing right now, but also our other segments, Spinal Bud and Rosanna's Fun Facts, and our Toy of the Week kind of thing. So hope you can join us tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Atlantic time here on Facebook and YouTube. There, it looks like annularity has arrived for Eli, Nevada. The ring of fire. We're on the outside. Cues. Wish I was there. Next time. Hopefully I won't have to go too far next time. This is a real tease for me because it's, you'd want to be underneath all of that and watching it right now. And if I was out there, I'd be doing a live stream back home for sure. But next year, whether we'll be doing a live stream or not, I'm not sure. I'm thinking a lot about it, saying, I probably should. But if you're going to, I've never experienced a total solar eclipse myself. So for me, I would suggest for you as well to not worry about catching it online. If you get the opportunity, don't bother taking a picture of it. There'll be millions and billions of pictures. NASA will take much better pictures than I ever will. But it's the idea to stand there and just watch this event happening. I mean, it's quite a coincidence. And imagine now, just a few thousand years ago, what people would have thought when they looked up and saw this happening, all the omens, expressions, that kind of thing, bad omens and But now we can predict these, hundreds of years in the future. So it's a pretty amazing activity, and it's probably the most popular and the most fantastic celestial event that you'll ever witness in your lifetime. This is where celestial mechanics of motion really mean a lot to me. This is where I can really you can really view the evidence of planets in motion and moons in motion. I think it's just a fantastic activity. I'm jealous of all those that are underneath the sky right now in that path of annularity catching this view. But we'll pray for good skies and clear skies on April 8th of next year. And if worse comes to worse, we'll be doing the same thing as we're doing right here. Now, where to go in New Brunswick? There are lots of activities around the province. Just type total solar eclipse events in New Brunswick, and even through NB Tourism, you'll find a lot of events that are going to be taking place throughout the province. Right from private events happening to a lot of public events in the areas where totality will be included. I know that the last time I experienced any type of a partial eclipse like this was back in 2021, was it 2021? When we had the eclipse happening at sunrise, and or just after sunrise, and it was fantastic to see so many people around the world joining in on my little cell phone. All I had was my cell phone, operating, taking a look at the eclipse through my cell phone and through a small little telescope. But it was amazing to join on with so many people around the world who were interested in it. Like, astronomy has become a different hobby now. It's become attractive again, I guess. Somebody on the radio that they said astronomy is sexy again. Maybe it is. I mean, in my time, it was a pretty nerdy thing to do, and maybe it still is a little bit. But there just seems to be a whole new interest in the night sky, stargazing, maybe because we're losing our night sky, at an alarming rate right now in a lot of places. I mean, if you go to some place like Toronto, it's difficult to even see all the stars in the Big Dipper, let alone the Milky Way. And it shows that we're all part of a larger picture here. Everybody on the Earth is joining together to see a view like this. Not everybody can see this view today, but when we're all looking up, we're all looking at the same moon, and we're part of a much larger picture here. So I think that's kind of settling with people. And I know that with the younger audiences, when I do classroom talks, they're overwhelmed and completely amazed by some of the views you can show. And I'm completely amazed at their attitudes. I enjoy every single one of them very much. I look forward to presenting in front of kids so much because they have such great questions. They're really eager to learn more about the universe that they live in, and they're just amazing to talk to and amazing to listen to, and their thoughts on where we are. And I mean, they're the next generation. Those are our explorers in the future. There are astronomers heading to the moon and to Mars and beyond. So it's important to encourage them to look up and to look at things like this. This event here, it doesn't cost you a cent unless you were driving to the event or flying to the event to see it in particular. Then it's going to cost you a bit, especially if you go to Easter Island. But events like this are completely, Mother Nature puts on these events for us for free, and all we have to do is turn around and look up most of the time. So sunrises, sunsets, planetary action, conjunctions, eclipses, lunar and solar both, they're all free to observe for anybody without any special equipment. That's the other fantastic thing about it all. And all we need is clear skies to be able to enjoy them. So it's really quite amazing. And we're living in great times when here we are with views from New Mexico, Odessa, Texas, and Bluff, Utah, all at the same time sitting on the screen, and we've got 18 viewers on YouTube and another 8 sitting on, or 8 on YouTube, I guess, another 18 sitting on Facebook. We're sharing it all together. So, you know, amazing times that we're living in. And this isn't going to happen forever. I guess it's probably about 500 million years before it does happen, but there will be a time when the moon can't completely cover the disk of the sun, because the moon is moving away from us at the rate of about 4 inches per year, I guess. And it'll get to a point when the moon is far enough away that we'll never get to see another total solar eclipse. No, 500 million years from now, I'm probably not going to worry about it too much, but I'd just like to catch the one next year. You see, you know, already parts of it are disappearing here in Bluff, Utah. Roswell, New Mexico is beginning to expand. You can see the shadow here too, where the eclipse annularity is actually happening down here, right in that little dark red area. There's the path of the annularity, and there's where the largest point of annularity is happening right now. So we can see this shadow is here, but we can see the shadow, the color changes all the way across the country here. So we get to us over here at about 10%. So that large shadow that the moon is casting has reached our part of the country right now. And there's a speed of what the shadow is traveling right now. It's just pretty amazing. I've had a number of people have asked me about classroom instruction talks. I am going to get back to classroom talks again this year, locally and online, both. I can offer Zoom talks to anywhere in the world, I guess, really anywhere across the country for sure. On in-person views, I haven't put out a post yet to share the idea that I will be doing it, simply because I've been working on some new presentation ideas. So we'll be putting up a post soon. Hopefully.
Wasn't it? I get a solar eclipse. We've been frantically working in the background here. We've had problems both in Odessa and here in Roswell. Images falling out, and we've been crazy scrambling to get things done. So there you go. Crazy scrambling. That's my mouth scrambling too. We're seeing the light levels go down here. We're seeing the shadows on the ground change into little crescent shapes. You can really feel like that the excitement of the air and things are changing.
Absolutely. And we can see on the screen the cause of all of this. It is because we are just moments away from angularity and the ring of fire in New Mexico. So the moon has been working its way across the face of the sun for the last hour and a half or so, and we are now just in the final moments for the trailing edge of the moon at the top of the screen here. Moves across the edge of the sun, and the sun will form a complete ring around the edge of the moon. That is annularity, the ring of fire. That is the big highlight for today.
It is, and we're hoping to see some babies there on the train.
That's correct. Yes. Meanwhile, in the top right corner of the screen,
A good point. Paul Crowder's here joining us from YouTube. Paul, yeah. I do intend to soak up as much of it as possible. You know, I may be live. It's hard not to share. I mean, that's what I do, right? So my Paul's been at me continuously. Don't you bother sharing. You know, don't you worry about it. Really get the chance, but it's what I enjoy the most. So I probably would share the event at least partially, but during totality, I would certainly just step away from the telescope and look up, because it is the one thing that I've wanted to catch in my lifetime the most. And again, we're just hoping for clear skies. If skies aren't clear in New Brunswick, I'm preparing myself to travel a few hundred miles or more. If I know a couple of days ahead of time that skies aren't going to be clear, because it's you know, debatable whether I'll get to see another one. So I really hope to get the opportunity next year for sure. It's too bad that it just misses Mount Carleton this time around. And it's just below, I believe, Mount Carleton, which is one of the more darker spots in the province, in the highest mountain in the province. And you would be standing on Mount Carleton, looking west, watching, or southwest, I guess, watching the shadow coming across the planet at you at about 1,000 miles per hour or more. Would be amazing to see that shadow moving if you're up that high. I think it would be up high enough to catch it there. Still, just being able to see it would be amazing. I can't wait. This is really a big tease for me to get us to April the 8th. Less than 6 months away now, folks.
Wow, there it is. There it is.
There it is from New Mexico.
And there it is. That is the start of annularity. We're in Roswell, New Mexico. The sun has formed this complete ring around the edge of the moon. That is the entire moon silhouetted against the face of the sun. And we are beginning 4.5 minutes or so of annularity.
That's pretty long. I wonder if they would zoom in a bit, would you be able to see some of the mountain ranges and things like a jagged edge? You can see a little bit of a jagged edge, I think, down here. With the moon, I mean, it's not completely circular, of course.
That's right. Before we reach the end of annularity in Roswell, it will be starting down the road in Odessa, in Texas.
Why is it that it's I'm just imagining doing circles kind of down the path. Why does it happen?
Well, we can really see that from that moving eclipse map that we have on the right side of the screen there. That bright red dot in the middle of the map, that is the moon's ambush. That's what's causing this ring of fire. At the moment, the middle of that dot is more or less over Roswell. Roswell is about 30 kilometers, so about 17 miles off the very center line of the path of angularity. So that's where we are now, almost in the very center of that dot. As the dot moves off Roswell on that map, it is already moved into Texas at the other end of that dot. So angularity is starting in Odessa at the same time that angularity is finishing.
So as you mentioned, that view that we're seeing there now, view that we're seeing now, we can see in this little view, New Brunswick over here in the top right corner. So that's why we're just starting to experience it now, because that shadow has finally reached us in our part of the world. If you were in Toronto right now, you'd get about a 27% eclipse. Winnipeg would be experiencing about 42% eclipse. Calgary is roughly around 60 to 62% eclipse. Vancouver was to experience about 76% or so eclipse. So the closer you get to that path of annularity, the more of an eclipse you get to witness for sure. So that's why it's beginning here. The sun has just broken out here. Wow. We got a summer hole. Little spot of clear blue sky. So maybe some of those who may be at the Irving Nature Park right now are getting to experience a partial eclipse. Let's hope they are. It looks like it's a hole big enough to be able to see the sun through for sure. And the sun would pierce through a lot of the cloud if it was just light cloud as well. So the really dark cloud, yes, you would have difficulty with it because you're already looking at a very dark sun, as you can see here in the images. But let's hope, with fingers crossed, that they're getting a view at the Irving Nature Park right now, live. Jeff, I see a chunk out. Awesome, Jeff. Good to hear. Congratulations. Just got my first view of the disk through the time. Thin breaking a cloud, using the telescope with a filter. You can see 2 sunspots. Yeah, I have my phone attached to it. Awesome. So get some photos and share them up on our page. Of course, Jeff, send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. Anybody gets any images of today, please share them and we'll bring them up on tomorrow night's program. Also, as I was on a ferry in the English Channel for the 1999 total solar eclipse, along with many amateur astronomers. That would be awesome, Paul. That would be an awesome experience for sure. I can't think of a better experience than to go to Easter Island, though. That would have to be the lifetime experience to visit Easter Island and during an eclipse. I couldn't even imagine what the dark skies would be like down there. That would be incredible. But to watch this event happen over Easter Island would be pretty amazing, I think. Anyway, anywhere there's an eclipse, I'd be happy to see it. And I love sharing them as well. So. Well, Mark, hey, the sliver is better than nothing, I guess. Mark is in Boston getting a view. What do you get for a view of Boston, Mark? Let's have a look here. I'm sure you can tell me anyway. For us,
That's right. This is.
for us people across the border.
As you say.
Yeah, you're getting about a 15% or 20%, maybe. Bucket list for sure, Janice. maybe a GoFundMe. There we go. Bucket list would be the possibility. Yeah, win the lotto. I'll go for sure if I win the lotto. Well, I mean, if I win the big lotto, not like the $2 I won the other night. Overcast in Raleigh. Oh, sorry, Clayton. So yeah, what are we saying in Boston? He was looking at about 17%. So that's not bad from there, Mark. I would say that I'd be happy with that. 17%. I'm happy with 10% from here. I think we started to lose this guy again. Still a bit there. Seems like the sun is there and there's a round circle right around it with lighter clouds. So you know, the thing about these is that you really only need a window. You know, you don't need a whole day of clear sky. You just need that window of a couple of hours that would provide you with at least a view and an opportunity to share that view with others. So 70%. Hey, Mark. Yeah, great stuff. I say grab a photo if you can and send it into the page. Or send it. Actually, don't send it to the page. Facebook has given me real issues lately with if somebody sends me an email or a message with a picture attached to it. And unfortunately, for some reason with Meta, I cannot capture that photo any larger than a very tiny image. Like I can't enlarge it. I can't save it. Whatever's happened to Facebook lately. A lot of things have happened. A lot of links that I post that I put up that never get shared, that kind of thing as well. So I recommend maybe sending it to astronomybythebay@gmail.com. My Gmail address is working. I'm able to pick up all the images from there in full size. So if you have any, we're happy to share them on our program.
That's right.
So we're looking at live view again from Odessa, Texas now. We're not going to stay on here to watch every town, you know, get their annularity, but I'm on here because a few people are on here with me. So if I want to send you these, that would be awesome. Thank you, Janice. Appreciate that. What about Stonehenge? I don't know whether Stonehenge is going to experience one. This one here in October is just across the southern parts of the country. But let me have a look here. I'm going to bring it up.
He's over in Riding on Mount.
Go back Easter
Following equipment.
So there we go, and we are now approaching the end of annularity in Odessa. That was 4 minutes and 50 seconds in total.
Not bad. 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That's a nice long time.
Yes, working our way towards the end. Yes, this is about a 90% partial eclipse. Yeah, that thin ring around the edge of the moon, that is about 10% of the sun's disk that is left unexposed during annularity.
This is my cue. This is my cue. Eclipse masters. You know, 10% sunlight doesn't sound like a lot.
Absolutely. Now, I think at the bottom of the screen,
That's
there now,
amazing.
as the moving edge of the moon starts to break that ring, we're seeing the ring.
There's the Bailey beads.
It's a small beads of
Yeah.
light. That is Bailey's beads. That's because the edge of the moon is not perfectly smooth.
Right.
So
Edge of the moon is not a smooth edge. So
there are
those beads are the mountain ranges and craters and things that are along the edge of the moon that are being revealed there at that point. Now Bailey's beads are pretty obvious as well when you have a total solar eclipse. Look at the nice big prominence there on the edge too. No, they're picking that up. It's impressive.
We've got planes flying overhead. They've been. So.
Yeah.
We've still got some dogs.
I'm going to drag this one over here just for a quick second and show you the path of annular eclipse coming up in October, which is passing right through Easter Island. There's Easter Island right there. So it's a long way off the coast of Chile. But still, and that's the limit of the path. So it won't be as well, I guess it's almost as large as the one that's happening today, but not over very much landmass at all. Very little landmass that will pass over. One of the key areas that it will pass over out of all the islands is that Easter Island. So I can imagine the view from there would be quite impressive. Photo bucket list for sure. We're looking at Roswell, New Mexico, top right corner. We can see that the annularity has completed and it's moving away. See you in April. Hey, Mark. You bet.
On the left of the screen, the dot is moving its way down the timeline. And so we had annularity in Oregon and in Nevada.
Yeah, we can see how it's moving across their time here. So it's quite a while yet before we get to the Caribbean. So we'll probably drop off here in a little while. They've got the full 6 hours, I think, of views here for them.
It's worth, and also time they got live, there's all kinds of stuff happening there.
Let me check back in and see what's going on with the NASA site here. If I can find them here.
We are since the stories of our partners, so going on a
Okay, let's hold on here and see what's happening here. Okay, I'm going to flip over to annularity on NASA's site. So bear with me. I'm going to try to drag it over. Take a look at it. And here we are. And I have to go back to the YouTube other site. It's this one. Oh, find it here. Here it is. That's Ring of Fire, official NASA broadcast from Terrible, Texas. So we're getting very close to annularity there as well. And I'm gonna just kind of pause this one. You can drag it out of the way here for a second. And we'll go back to there. Just pause that for now. Jumping back and forth here, trying to get the best feeds. Popping back and forth between NASA and time and date. They seem to be the better feeds of the bunch right now. Still watching annularity now in Carroll, Texas. Some sound here. Oh, there's the reaction. Carroll, Texas. See the view? And listen to the reaction.
Wow, that's great. You can see, it was like a perfect circle of the sun peeking out. It really is that ring of fire that we have here. Wow. Yeah, I thought I had goosebumps, but I'm literally shaking. This is great. Yeah. I know, I agree. So I mean, this
And I
is your first annular eclipse.
for
I
them.
mean, was it what you expected?
Very happy
It
for them.
is, yeah, I mean, we've seen all of the photos from previous annular eclipses, but just as I look again, I mean. It's.
What a great
it's
experience for kids to witness as well, right?
Like this. And again, I mean, the moon is way smaller.
Is there anything any more magical than this celestial event right here?
It's money. Well, so a little fun fact about our moon, it's pretty incredible. It's 400 times smaller than the sun, but it's also 400 times closer to the earth. No, that 400 magic number here, yeah, the fact that
We watch this until annularity ends. We'll see if we can catch the Bailey's beads again on their page.
us on Earth. No other planet in our solar system has that ratio that makes it so special. So you're saying that if we viewed an eclipse on another planet, it wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure it would be great to see, but it would not look as spectacular. Okay, I'm gonna remind me really, yeah, looking around, and you can just see everything. The shadows are a little bit different. It's dim. You get this hazy feeling, but the sky is so blue. That's what's strange about it. Oh, it's so sweet. We've got parents like holding little eclipse glasses and their kids to look up. This is just, it's really amazing. I'm just like, I don't know, I'm not gonna put it on here. Maybe we'll pause for a second, Judy. Wow. You heard the cheering and now it's quiet again, and people are just looking. And so for us, this is gonna last about 4 minutes into a process, right? That's right. And why is that? Is that the same in every city or? Yeah, so there's actually the length of the maximum eclipse can change based on several factors. I mean, each eclipse is unique. And so one thing has to do with where in the moon's orbit the moon is, because the moon's orbit isn't circular. So it will go faster and slower at different parts, and that will make the shadow travel at different speeds. Also, where the shadow is landing on Earth will have an impact, because if you're at the equator, you're going to be rotating much faster than if you were at the poles. And so for that fact, it changes the length of that maximum eclipse too. And that's true not just for annular eclipses, but for the partial eclipses, for the totality, for total solar eclipses as well. And I imagine, our folks at home getting some of those partial eclipses are also having a great experience.
The thing to think about too is that this is a rock that's 3,500 kilometers in diameter, and it's moving at 1 kilometer a second. And there's how slowly it's moving.
And so, Gina, I'm sure, I mean, you're in heliophysics, some science. I'm sure some of your teams are studying today's eclipse. Like, oh yeah, what absolutely. I mean, science can only happen right now, right? We've heard about the sounding rockets that are experimenting. Oh, that's right. There's someone, studying the upper atmosphere. And so we're really interested in knowing, like, right now in our location, as that radiation from the sun's being blocked, how does the upper atmosphere change? And so in addition to that, I mean, we really want to understand how those sunspots, what's going on when they're covered versus when they are not covered. We can tell the difference.
There's the Bailey's beads again forming. You can see down at the bottom corner that it's not completely regularly disappearing because of the irregular shape of the moon.
In James at our eclipse desk, James, I know you are seeing this. What do you think?
It's truly a surreal moment. It feels like almost nighttime. It's been really breezy, chilly. The shadows are all like little rings as well. It's just a beautiful sight. Kind of hard to put into words the exact feeling. I mean, we've been preparing for this for a while. We've been tracking this all morning with our Eclipse Explorer, but actually to see it in person and to take it in, it's a really incredible moment. And this only lasted about 4 minutes. You can see on our Eclipse Explorer, this is already passing off of Kerrville, heading further southeast to parts of the Texas coast on the Gulf. And the morning is far from over here. For a lot of folks in Central America and South America, their morning is just starting off here. The partial eclipse is affecting still a large part of the region. You can see this whole area that's highlighted here in the larger ellipse here. That's all being affected still by that partial eclipse. And you can see on our track that this is going to continue moving further southeast all the way into parts of South America. before the morning's over. It's been just incredible tracking this. And actually, Kerrville, we're in the path of the total solar eclipse for next year. So if I turn on the path for next year, you can see X marks.
There's a nice spot. Kerrville, Texas, in the path of both.
Incredible cosmic event. Once again, getting that incredible view. Just really, again, very hard to put into words just how amazing this is. Just a stunning experience, and it's been an honor to be here with you this morning, tracking this event as it's moved across. We started the morning in Eugene, Oregon. Now it has arrived and already passed us in Kerrville. I'll continue to track it for a little bit longer here, but for now, back to you, Tahira.
Thank you, James. And folks, this is just the beginning. Today's event kickstarts NASA's Heliophysics Big Year, which is a year where we're encouraging people to do as many sun-related activities as possible in the lead up to next year's total solar eclipse.
Amos, Kimmy, thank you very much for that comment. 8-year-old granddaughter asked me to say that she thinks it's amazing. I think it's amazing as well. Please let her know.
Now that the annular eclipse is here,
There's nothing so amazing than watching an eclipse.
launch of NASA's Heliophysics Big Year. This is a year-long celebration of solar science, and it's modeled after the Big Year concept from citizen scientists in the bird watching community. So they're challenged to see as many birds as they can, but in the Heliophysics Big Year, we're challenging you to do as many sun science-related activities as possible. And so one way to participate is through NASA's citizen science projects. Here are a few sun-related ones you could join.
Did you know that you can participate in solar eclipse science with NASA? NASA's citizen science projects are collaborations between scientists and members of the public, no matter your citizenship. Several volunteer science projects are gearing up for the 2024 total solar eclipse that you can join. Total solar eclipses don't just look cool, they provide a rare chance to see the sun's faint outer atmosphere. Using telescopes and cameras that are safe for viewing the sun, volunteer scientists across North America will capture images of the total solar eclipse. Scientists will study these images in detail, tracking how plumes of solar material move through the sun's atmosphere. But be careful, without proper tools and techniques.
Just doing a quick Wikipedia search there, Jeff, on your comment. Take this down a little bit for volume. It says the eclipse of Thales was a solar eclipse that was, according to ancient Greek historian Herodotus, accurately predicted by the Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus. If Herodotus' account was accurate, this eclipse is the earliest recorded as being known in advance of its occurrence. Many historians believe that the predicted eclipse was the solar eclipse of the 28th of May in 585 BC. How he actually predicted the eclipse remains uncertain. Some scholars assert the eclipse was never predicted at all. Others have argued for different dates, but only the eclipse of May 585 BC matches the conditions of visibility necessary to explain the historical event. According to Herodotus, the appearance of the eclipse was interrupted as an omen, or was interpreted as an omen, and interrupted a battle in a long-standing war between the Medes and the Lydians. American writer Isaac Asimov described this battle as the earliest historical event whose date is known with precision to the day, and called the prediction the birth of science. There. So, learn something new every day. And thanks for asking that question. I had no idea myself. Wikipedia. I know it's not always right, but I would kind of trust this one, I think. Oh, thanks, Karen. Thanks for your comments there. It's a pleasure. I'm just rebroadcasting streams from other locations, but the thing I like about it is that we can all get to share the view live together like this. This is happening right now. The live view is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we've been watching here for an hour and a half or so, but it gives us an opportunity to sit and chat a little bit as well about what's happening, what's coming up, and especially our event coming up on April the 8th of next year. This is really a nice tease for us to get excited about what's coming up for the total solar eclipse on April the 8th of next year. And that one's going to be the one to watch for. We're really hoping for clear skies, of course. Timeanddate.com on their website, when they bring up their page, it does say that it was cloudy 72% of the time since the year 2000 in St. John. So what does that mean? Well, 72% means 28% clear. So I always try to look at it that way. Because you have to, if you're an astronomer in the maritime provinces of Canada, it's a very, very tough hobby to be in. And it really does try your patience sometimes, but you become patient and say, you know, there's nothing we can do to change the weather, but we can just hope for good weather when it all comes about. But this is the lead in for us. This is not the view we'll get next year. We'll get a complete blockage of the sun by the moon, because the moon will be in a closer orbit to us than it is today. And again, there's a total lunar eclipse 2 weeks before that, I believe. And this one, I'll just check that again. But there's always a lunar eclipse followed by a solar eclipse, or the other way around, a solar eclipse 2 weeks apart, followed by a lunar eclipse. So we'll get to experience two things right there together. In 2025, we'll have a total lunar eclipse 2 weeks before the event that happens on March 29th of 2025, which is another eclipse. So this is just one of three coming up for our area. This annular eclipse today, the total solar eclipse of 2024 of April, and then again on March 29th of 2025, and we'll have about an 86% eclipsed sun happening at sunrise on that morning. So as the sun rises, it will already be eclipsed, and it'll be on its way to ending the eclipse. So great opportunities for photo ops for sure for that one. There'll be a lot of people snapping that image, I'm sure. Thanks, Chris. Just viewed through my 80mm to the clouds rolled in California. Nothing like seeing it live with your eyeballs. You bet. Dan would love to have been there to see it. I have my kids are in Winnipeg and Canmore, and I was hoping to catch it with them this year, but things didn't lead out that way. So I did send out a message to them all to hopefully they get a chance to see it themselves. I think it was about 42% eclipsed in Winnipeg and about 60% or so in Calgary. So check in with them a little bit later on and see if they had an opportunity to see it. The thing is too, I mean, we talk a lot about eclipse glasses. The number 14 welding glass is another option. The only leery part I have about welding glass is you know, does it have a hairline crack in it? And you know, make sure that it's a good piece. Hold it up to a really bright light if you can, and check it before you ever tried your eyeballs to it. But it does work. We used it as kids as well. The eclipse glasses, you always look for an ISO certified glass. So from somebody like American Paper Optics or the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, they have glasses now available as well. There's a local company called Cliff Valley Astronomy. He has a lot of eclipse glasses on sale on his website, so you can check out him, Stefan Picard. So there are options out there for you. Eclipse glasses are best for those who are just want to take a quick look at it. And you don't need to have a pair for each person in the family. You know, even a total solar eclipse is going to be a few minutes happening. So you could take the glasses yourself, enjoy them for a little bit, pass them to another family member, let them have a look. You know, so it's nice to have a pair for everybody in the family if you can afford them. You know, a couple bucks a piece isn't too bad. But if you've only got one or two pair, then you can certainly share them around. And of course, the best views are really through a telescope with a special filter on the front of the telescope. Always on the front. Never use the ones that are that say sun written on them for your eyepiece. It's a sun filter. Never use those. So take that as soon as you buy or get your telescope and you have one of those, automatically throw it directly in the garbage can. Because you should never filter the light at your eyepiece. All that light is being concentrated all the way down through your telescope and about to enter your eyeball. And if that small lens has just a pierced small hole in it or a crack across it, you'll instantly be blind. There is always the pinhole. That's right. Dan, there's a lot of articles up there with the box, like the cereal box type of image that you can get. There's also, you know, you can take a simple kitchen strainer and take it outside. And if you've got 100 holes in the kitchen strainer and you hold that to let the sunlight shine through it, you'll have 100 eclipses on the ground. Watch it as it comes through the trees. A lot of trees have leaves with holes in them, and you can see little tiny eclipses on the ground with that as well. You can actually do the projection method like Dan suggests, project from a telescope onto a white piece of paper, so that you can, not looking in the glass, of course, but you got to be sure of how you're finding the sun. Never look through a finder to try to find the sun, because you'll instantly lose your vision as well, or you'll do a lot of damage to your eye as well. Always look away from the sun and look for the smallest shadow on the ground. That's a good way to find out that you're pointed at the sun at the time. So there's all kinds of information on YouTube and other sites that offer safe viewing of eclipses. Even if you get an order, a set of, look, today's eclipse is over, I don't need a pair of glasses until next April. You want to pay attention, because there's going to be over 60 million people in the path of the totality of the next one. That's the largest in history. So you'll see these glasses fly off the shelf fairly quickly now that people are excited over what's happened today. So you might want to try to order your sets now and get them in the mail and into your hands. And remember, just because there's an eclipse in April next year, don't throw them away. There'll be another one coming up in 2025. There's one coming up in 2026, partial ones, but still opportunities to view things for sure. So I use a shadow on the ground to align. There you go, Dan. Perfect. Yeah, that's the absolutely best way right there to find out where the sun is. I mean, the smallest shadow that you can create is where you're going to be pointing at the sun. The sun is directly over your head. You're not making any shadow on the ground. So that's exactly what you're trying to do. So that's a great method. You can buy these things called sun finders, and they are doing the same thing. They're actually just a small piece of plastic. You can get them 3D printed now, and they have a small hole in the front with a piece of paper, like white paper on the backside, and you watch to you center a mark in the center of that piece of paper, and then you watch where the sun lands on that piece of paper. So that's another way to do it, but always looking away from the sun as you're doing that. Let's go back to the feed here for a few more minutes. We'll see where everybody's at now. They're down in Kerrville, Texas. They're losing their annularity there now.
Next year. And folks, even though peak annularity just passed in Kerrville, Texas, we are still getting an incredible view on this live telescope feed. You can see the moon is now passing over the sun, and honestly on its way to make another city's day. Now, it is a good point to remind folks that X marks the spot here in Kerrville, Texas, where the 2024 total solar eclipse will pass in just 6 months. This very lucky city is in the path of totality and will be one of the places to witness the moon completely blocking out the face of the sun and darkening the sky as if it were dawn or dusk. Now, Gina and I are here with NASA Chief Scientist, Dr. Kate Calvin, to learn more about what we can expect for next year. Kate, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
And so, Kate, can you start off and just give us an idea of what science we can expect only for a total solar eclipse?
So one of the things that scientists are really interested in studying is called the corona. It's a part of the sun's atmosphere. It's the source of heat and particles that come towards Earth. But normally it's too bright, and so you can't really observe it directly. Scientists use instruments called chronographs to block some of that light, but it's still hard to see part of the total eclipse. Yeah, the total eclipse gives the best environment for studying the corona. Right. But we were so lucky to just see that prominence coming off of the sun. And what's prominence? And so that's actually some of that solar particles, some of the particles coming off of the sun, the ejecta, and we can kind of see it hanging there, which either turns into an eruption, some of that activity that we can observe, or we can just quiet down as well. Yeah. So Kate, can you tell us, how can the public get involved with the total solar eclipse? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, so we have a number of citizen science projects. These are projects where people anywhere around the world can help contribute to our science. You don't have to be in the path of totality to contribute. We have projects for everyone. And they're different projects. Some of them you need cameras or telescopes or equipment. Others you can use just with your cell phone. And so we have one project that's called on the Globe Observer app. It's help understand the effect of eclipses on Earth's weather. And you can do that just with your phone. Maybe other science background or anyone can contribute. We walk through what you need to do. And sometimes it's as simple as taking a picture or recording a sound. And so you can all contribute to our science.
So anybody can get involved.
Anyone can get involved.
Paul says, I second that, Chris, regarding the cheap sun filter, smash with a hammer. I agree, Paul, 100%. Yeah, you're getting 47% in 2025. Awesome, Paul. Good to hear. Well, we'll try to share a view of totality from here for you if we can as well.
So really interested in Earth, and understanding the effects on Earth. There's also the sun affects other planets and bodies in the solar system, like the moon and Mars. And so when we think about exploring the solar system, we want to understand the sun and its role in it. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, we have so much to look forward to next year. I want to know real quick, what's your peak excitement for next year's total solar eclipse? You know, we'll start with you, and then Kate would love to hear your thoughts. Sure. So I'm really excited to compare what we saw today, that annular eclipse. How does it compare to that total solar eclipse? You know, I got to see a total in 2017, but every eclipse is unique, and so such a science. I know. Want to do a little experiment? How many data points can I get? But not just that, you know, we're hearing everything about the heliophysics big year. And so it kicks off today, and that total solar eclipse in April will be the next event. So how many events can I participate in for the heliophysics big year? Amazing. What about you, Kate? I'm interested in sort of the things beyond just what you see or what you feel, so that it's going to get cooler, and we might hear some animals. We felt that. Yeah. And
Oops. Back to our other feed here. Nope.
And I mean, today has been a spectacular day. So folks, let's check in one last time with James at our eclipse desk to see how he's doing. James, what's it like?
Yeah, Tahira, I'm still in awe of the moment that we just had here a couple minutes ago here in Kerrville, Texas. Just a stunning view of that ring of fire here. And as you can see on our Eclipse Explorer, the annularity.
So we're going to take a couple minutes here in a second, and we're going to flip back over to the time and date view for another few minutes, and then we'll probably call it quits after that.
Total solar eclipse up here.
There's our total solar eclipse coming up.
For us in Kerrville, and affecting an entirely new area here that is going to be stretching all the way up to parts of the New England, all the way up to Maine, even parts of Canada. So
even parts of Canada.
Large area there as well. So definitely save those pinhole projectors and certainly keep a hold of those eclipse glasses. You're going to need them for next year. We're going to be right back to cover all of that incredible stuff next year with you. It's been amazing tracking this today. And again, this is still moving onwards to Central America and South America.
Let's take another quick look at what we're going to experience in 2024. So I'm going to bring up the path again for next year. Here we are, the April 2024 eclipse path. If you go to timeanddate.com and you click on the eclipses, put your town in here first of all. So in here, I just typed St. John, New Brunswick. St. John had brought up New Brunswick. And then I clicked on the map, showed me what I was going to experience, and here's the map for the complete event next year for April the 8th. So go in there, take a look, and maybe there's an opportunity for you to travel someplace and get a better view. You can click on any place on this map. So if I was to click on, say, here in St. John, like I did, I can also see the information here. This is actually Fredericton. So it'll be 100% obscured, which means we're in totality there. The duration of the whole eclipse will be 2 hours, 18 minutes, 14 seconds, and the duration of totality will be 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So that's how long it's going to take, how long the moon will completely block out the disk of the sun. It tells you the times when it's going to start. 3:23 full begins at 4:33. I believe sunset on April the 8th is right around 7 p.m. I think. So we should have lots of time. It's going to be low in the sky, lower, not really high, but we still should be able to get a pretty decent view. Now, average cloud cover, there we are. So it's been 75% cloud cover since the year 2000. And if you click on any part of this map, it'll give you the same information. So if we go way down here into, if we get down in here into Texas somewhere, let's look at the towns that's passing through, though. Austin and Waco and San Antonio, they're all in the path of totality. We can follow up through here. We're going to get into Indiana, we're into Cleveland. There's lots of people here. Buffalo, New York. Montreal is just inside the range as well. Sherbrooke. So, if we have cloudy sky in our area or 100% expected cloud, you jump in the car and drive to Montreal, maybe, if you knew a couple of days ahead of time. Even New Hampshire, though, those areas are going to get, a pretty good view. So let's go down here, just spinning around here, just playing for a second, down to Dallas, Texas. Click on it. Dallas, Texas. Okay, they're going to get 3 minutes and 52 seconds of totality. And there, the average cloud cover was still 60% since the year 2000. So that's still not great. You know, today, their event that they're advertising here at NASA, they had some nice clear sky, but it doesn't mean you're always going to get it. If we get down into, Houston area, you're not going to be in eclipse. Austin, Texas, well, 56% average cloud cover since year 2000. So it's a roll of the dice. It really is. Where to go. A lot of these people do this for a living, though. There are, not for a living, I guess, but for a huge hobby, eclipse chasers, and there are lots of places on the map, on the internet, where you can find people that have been doing this for years, and they've got all the calculations laid out. They know exactly where they're going to be in the whole bit. I had heard a story of somebody a few years ago that had done all this, set everything all up, and they wanted to get the picture of totality. And when it happened, they watched the experience. They turned around and their camera had the lens cap on it. So, unfortunate things happen sometimes. The weather content can be anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you are. I'm going to jump off their feed and go back to time and date here for a second. I can. So just bear with me. I'll pause that one. I'll see if I can go to time and dates live feed. Bring their live feed over to the screen. We'll share it for a few more minutes before we log out. So there's live feed again from timeanddate.com. They're down into Odessa, Texas now. There's a review from Roswell. No, I'm sorry, that's paused. Let me take that ahead. We should be, no, we're not live yet, so let's keep going. There's where we're live view. Give me a second, it'll update. There it is. Okay, now here we are. In Odessa, Texas, we can see that Annular is past, well past there, as well as in Roswell. Shadows now out into the larger part of the shadows now starting to enter into Central America. So we're still a little ways away from that. To 1719 UTC time, it's 1759, another 40 minutes before it reaches the Caribbean Sea maximum, and then Roldanillo, Colombia. That's 1829. So we're a ways away from that. So we're not going to stay on for that whole period of time. Kind of experiencing a total eclipse off of the Nova Scotia. The cloud is back eclipsed. Well, that doesn't count, Jeff. That's not exactly what we're talking, but good try. Yeah, that kept me laughing. Thanks. I needed that little bit of laughter. Always better with the lens cap off. Yeah, I would be awful disappointed if I was that person. There have been lots of activity, like people traveled. I've heard of people that at the last eclipse, or I guess the last great eclipse in 2017, that actually planned a flight. You have lots of money, I guess. Flew into airports and landed on the runway, and private runways, I guess. They get off the plane, looked at the eclipse, got back on the plane, and flew away. So if you have the money, I guess that's another opportunity for you. There are eclipse cruises as well. I'm sure there'll be eclipses cruises for the event coming up at Easter Island in October, the annular eclipse. So you can, if you've got some money to throw around, you want to go on one of them too. That would be a pretty awesome event, I think. See it from a cruise ship. But the simple fact is that you really don't need to spend any money. Maybe a little bit of travel time if you really want to get into the path of totality. But we're very lucky, I think, in our part of the country, that we'll get to experience totality next year. No matter if it's cloudy or not, it's going to happen. So that's nothing to stop it. So anyway, what I think I'll do is I'm going to sign off though for now. I want to thank everybody for joining in and sharing the whole program here with me. It was great to be able to experience all of this with you. Again, we're a little feeling out of the weather today, and was probably get a better view here anyway. But I would have rather been out in person meeting with all of you. But I do intend to be out meeting with all of you in April when that one comes across. We can keep our fingers crossed for that one. We have a number of events coming up in between now and then. There are some nice conjunctions coming up, of course. There's actually a comet that's going to be coming through too that we're thinking that might be quite positive in October of next year. So after next year's eclipse, big eclipse for us, we're closely watching a comet called C2023A3, I believe it is, and it has these weird names, but they're thinking that this one will be a fairly bright one. Might be another Hale-Bopp, one of these really bright comets visible really nicely in the evening sky. So I'll keep you posted on that. Again, tomorrow evening on our Sunday night astronomy show, we're going to be welcoming back Tim Doucette from Deep Sky Eye Observatory. He's in the dark sky, under the dark skies at Quinton, Nova Scotia. And Tim is a legally blind astronomer, and we're going to have a nice little chat with him about what he's been up to and maybe what got him started in the hobby. And how do you become an astronomer when you're legally blind? It's pretty amazing, his story. So we'll get to chat with him tomorrow night along with our other segments. So we hope you can join us tomorrow evening. That's 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And until that time, you can always go to these live feeds, timeanddate.com, and the NASA live feed. They'll be broadcasting for a few more hours, I think, yet. So, but for me, it's back to popping in some more medicine and recovering for a little while. So thanks again, everybody, for joining on. It's been a real pleasure. We'll be talking to you all again soon, I'm sure. And we'll stop the live stream now.